Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to Forgiven AF Podcast. Remember, this is a second chance podcast that we use as marketing material for our mentorship program for second chance mentors. And got some exciting stuff going on with the mentorship program that I'm actually really proud of. Sometimes I'll just shoot shots at people on Instagram, like famous people and people who I feel like are really influential, and just kind of give them a quick summary of what we got going on. And last week, Steve Weatherford, who he was actually the NFL's most fittest man 2 years in a row. And the funny thing about that is he's a punter, right? So but he loves the Lord, man. This dude is that's like what after he retired, he's really got into, like, you know, pushing his faith and helping men, you know, like get out of like certain addictions and obstacles. And man, he responded to my message, and he was all in and invited me to come up and meet him at his church in Frisco. So I went up there and met him. And this guy was amazing, man. And he, a couple of days later, he reached out and he said, "Hey, could I come and spend some time with your boys? I would love to share my testimony with them and then take them all and buy them the next pair of shoes." So that's something we're super excited about. He's going to do that on the 19th. So he's going to come and share his testimony with our boys, and that'll be really cool. It's just a little piece of information with the mentorship that I'm really excited about. I also want to take a second and thank my buddies Brian and Garrett from Trinity West Roofing and Construction. They've actually our first sponsor that's going to help keep this show pushing, and they're great guys, man. They have a roofing company here in the DFW area. So if you need any, you know, inspections, free inspections, or any roof work done or any construction work done, TrinityWestRandC.com is their website. So you can check it out. Mention my name, and they said something about a free upgrade. So I think they upgrade the shingles or whatever. So I'm not sure that world exactly, but I'm trying to learn it. But just super excited. Thank you guys, Brian and Garrett, for believing in this podcast and believing in the movement and what we have going on here. And now to get to the show. This is one I'm really excited about. I know I say that every week. You guys hear me say that every time. But I have Abe Walzer here, and he is the owner of Alpha Athletics. And when I got out of prison, Chris and I, so this was probably 6-7 years ago, Chris, who was our lead trainer at the time, came across Abe and was like, "Man, you have got to see this dude. You got to talk to this guy. Like, super motivational, super inspirational. He's kind of had a similar walk to what we had gone through." And every time that I've reached out to him, I see you all the time at the bodybuilding shows, man. You always have a huge team with you, a huge following. So I just reached out to him a couple of times and was like, "Hey, man, would you come and you know, share some of your story and, you know, how you got to where you're at?" And he's willing, so he's here. So Abe, thank you for being here, man.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so we're super excited.
I'm getting a call to be on a podcast.
Oh man, no, you're gonna do really good.
Oh, let me bring it up.
Yeah, just get a little bit closer to the mic. Sorry, but no, I'm excited for you to be here, man, because you've done a lot of great things. You've overcome some stuff, and that's really what Forgiven AF is about. So super thankful for you to be here. Sometimes it gets I get a little nervous in the beginning, but we'll work that out as we talk. Can you kind of give our listeners kind of a quick, like, who you are and kind of where you're from?
Okay, well, I own Alpha, and y'all forgive me, it's aesthetics. I should have said athletics, but my wife told me it was going to be trouble for everybody. You should try emailing that thing. If you miss one letter, it's a problem, man. But
sorry about that.
No, you're good. So I was in the military for 6 years. Then I'm fast forward, went to the military. Got out, went to nursing school, and then opened a gym, started doing personal training on the side with the nursing. And eventually I evolved into personal training full time. I met some people in Albany, Texas, a bunch of, I didn't realize I was around nothing but millionaires, you know? So it wasn't an injunction of money they gave me, it was just this knowledge and just learning on business. So they kind of gave me a push, and I ended up opening my first gym. But before all that, see, I just went all the way to the end. We're not even at the end yet. You know, me going into the military. Prior to going into the military is actually a funny story how I got in. You know, my dad had tried to push me when I was getting out of high school, and I was too busy in the street. I was not trying to be a Marine. You know, I said, I want to smoke my weed. I'm not going to the military. So I ended up going to college. Did absolutely nothing, man. Me and my boy T, we as bad as Method Man and Red Man on How High, just walking around the campus being silly, you know. I ended up finding out that I had a female pregnant, and when she had my first daughter, me and my parents had to take custody. So she wasn't going to take care of my daughter. She wasn't in a place in life where she could do that. So took custody. I ended up leaving school. Got to Kansas City, hanging out with my cousins down there, and everybody's seen Friday. Everybody's seen Friday. You know, where Smokey's in the back with the two essays, and they see, man, I know how to do this. Well, I smoked some PCP in Kansas City, and I was high for about a year. So eventually, I was just. We was doing a lot of wild things, you know, my friend Joe, and rest his soul. You know, that's how it goes with most of your friends. I'm sure with you, you got more rest their soul than I'll see you later. You know?
Especially with ones on the hard drugs.
Right, sure. Right. Well, with me, my parents would help me raise my daughter, and I just happened to come home one night. You know, I don't even know if I was working at the time. I come home one night, and my dad's just, you know, he was a Marine. He said, what are you going to do with yourself? You know, like, you got a daughter? Are you going to be somebody? And on a whim, I said, man, I didn't tell you. I'm going to Air Force. He said, what? I said, yeah, I'm going to Air Force. And
you literally had just made that up spur of the moment?
Yeah, the next day I couldn't come down. I was high on PCP, so I had to smoke some weed to calm down, and I walked right in the cruise office. And half my hair braided, half of it in the fro, and I told you, I said, I know what I look like, I know what I smell like. Let's do this practice ASVAB, and I'll get clean and we'll go from there. You know, and I just ran with it because when I told my dad that night, he was so happy. I was like, shit, why not? You know? And it was just that quick. So that's why I told him, just jump off the porch, just do it. Like, whatever you're going to do, just do it. Got in the military. I went through tech school for 6 months after boot camp. Got to my base. I was at my base for a month, and one of my best friends at the time had got out of prison. He had just got out, and I had got my bonus. So I'm taking us all to Mexico to have a good time. You know, so it's 2 cars, it's 8 of us. I got my buddy who just got out of prison. You know, we was in San Antonio. We went shopping, bought him clothes, and did all those things that you do with your friends when they first get out. And now we're going to Mexico because I'm telling them I'll put some money in your pocket. After this weekend, it's time to get to it. You didn't had your fun, you didn't had your run. Now let's just go back to regular life. Well, we're headed down to Mexico. One thing leads to another. And I'll say it. My buddy grabs the steering wheel, we wreck. And after the wreck, one of our friends ended up dying. You know, they end up going off the bridge. Well, you know, I had been in the military for a month, you know, and was I drunk? Like the police officer said when they came, because I had to climb down. I mean, if you go to Del Rio, you'll know the bridge because you'll see reefs and stuff all over the side of the road. I had to climb down, found my friend, saw that he had passed, climbed back up the side of the bridge and called my mom, called my first sergeant, you know. So that being said, like, you're pretty with it, you know, if you're doing all that.
Yeah.
The police come, they ask me what happened. You know, nobody wants to be a snitch. You know, my man had just got out. You know, he had just got out of prison. I'm not going to say he grabbed the steering wheel. I don't know the law. You know, so I said, man, we just wrecked. Have you been drinking? Yes, sir. Are you drunk? I said, well, I don't know. I've been down here with a dead friend for 30 minutes. It wouldn't matter if I was sober or drunk. I'm going to be sober now.
Yeah.
But I'll take a blood test if that's what you want. He drives me to the place. They take my blood. I get locked up on intoxicated manslaughter. Well, I bond out. Mind you, I'm in the military. So thankfully there was, back then, the military was a little bit different. When I'm getting released to the military, I'm pretty much getting released into another form of custody.
Yeah, like the brig or whatever?
Yeah, well, actually, they took me right back to work, man. After losing my friend, spending two nights down there in Del Rio, boy, that's border town.
Yeah, that's definitely a different type of jail.
That's border town, man. Yeah. And I don't know what nobody's saying.
Because you didn't speak Spanish?
Hell no, and they're walking around, and I almost immediately get in a fight. Almost because I had been locked up as a juvenile in little counties here and there, but I'm thinking like, damn, I'm in the big Tankage County, but this is Del Rio.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm across the border already, man. And the dudes, I go use the restroom, the guy comes to me. They tell me something I'm not really understanding. And they take me over to the tank chief, and he's trying to tell me something, so I'm ready to square up. I thought he told me like I'm gonna squat when I piss or something, because I'm young and it's my first time there. I was like, man, I gotta hit the first guy that comes at me,
Because you had that, you still had a little bit of that street mentality, even though you're in.
Man, that's a man mentality. It's, you're gonna hit something. So, what all he was trying to tell me was you have to wipe the seat every time you pee for, just courtesy.
Yeah. It's
like, cool. So anyways, I get out. That Saturday, Sunday, I'm back on the flight line working on planes that Monday, man. Didn't miss one day at work, Didn't miss one day at work. Time goes on, they haven't indicted me. They lost my blood alcohol level. I think it took a year and a half. It came back at 0.14. And I was a little guy, I was probably about 120 pounds. And they could have said 2 point whatever, and I would have had a choice but to believe it. But a year and a half to get my blood test.
Yeah, something seemed fishy.
Yeah. So I hadn't talked to anybody. It was in Kerrville. My friends from Kerrville, Texas were the ones that were with me. And hadn't talked to anybody. When my trial's coming up, leading up to the trial at first, I'm in a world of self-loathing. I'm better off dead type. I'm going to work every day because I'm getting paid.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what's going on. And that's why I'm so stern on that. It doesn't matter what's going on in your outside life. You go to work, you have a job to do. You handle that outside work. You don't bring that to work with you, man. And after that, before that year and a half, I was getting award. Everybody knew I was on. I was walking around the base with a leg monitor on, doing PT. So everybody knew. Because of double jeopardy, they couldn't kick me out until after the decision of the courts. So we go to court, and I'm jumping around, man, because of course the story's still emotional. I really don't tell it often. A lot of people that, unless they've seen one of my other stories, they really don't even know this about me. I told a guy I was a convicted felon the other day, and he's known me for 7-8 years. And he's like, man, I had no idea. I'm like, well, I don't even know how it would ever come up, But so people don't know a lot about my background just because, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
Anyways, but we're going to court, and I didn't get a lawyer at first. I was like, it doesn't matter. They tried, some ambulance chasers tried to come and say, because my friend that passed, he was the only one out of us that was 21. Like they knew that he's the one that bought the alcohol, but I wouldn't fess to it, and I wouldn't go to that. It would have threw my charge away.
Yeah, if you would have told on him or something.
If I'd have said that he's the one that bought the alcohol, man, what I look like? I'm a stitch on the dead.
Yeah.
Huh, you're not supposed to do that either. Like everybody has their thoughts on that,
Yeah.
And there was there were so many things they tried, and I just didn't care. Talk to his family and ask them not to prosecute. Well, we all grew up together. That is not something, you don't put that on somebody's heart.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want them to that their child, regardless of what happens, we're gonna let the law run its course.
Yeah.
Well, all kind of crazy stories were coming out, man. Like half my town was saying that it was a murder. Like I killed him and threw him off the bridge.
A bunch of rumors and stuff.
Yeah, it was really wild because it didn't make sense on how they were describing the accident. The way they said he was ejected from my car, it just wasn't possible. But I didn't know that until years down the road when I finally got a lawyer and a reconstruction team. Based off of his height and the size of my little Toyota, Toyota Corolla, there's no way he could have blown out the back window. And they did all kind of, it was a pretty expensive...
like reenactments and stuff?
Yeah, they just broke it down, the accident reenactment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I said, sounds good, but I'm the one paying you. So of course it's going to be in my favor. So if it works, that's what's up. But in my heart, because that's the place that only really matters to me, I'm still
none of
guilty.
This really, none of
it doesn't matter. Like I don't need to know how it happened. I've got a child already, and that's what made me click. I was like, I've got a child that I'm trying to be around for at some point, no matter what comes with it. And this whole time, I'm still working on the flight line. I'm still going to work. I'm taking leave to go do these lawyer things.
Yeah.
Well, let's see where I was at. So. We head down to Del Rio, man. The dude grabs the steering wheel, we wreck. And see, I'm losing my train of thought.
No, you're okay.
I don't do this.
No, you're good. You're good. Let me ask you some questions to kind of keep it rolling.
Keep me rolling on it.
So check this out. When they finally did make the final decision, when you actually went through the court hearing and it all got done and they found you guilty, The military let you stay in?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that's where I was about the Reconstruction.
Yeah.
Okay, you got me. Okay, so with the Reconstruction, they had their side of the story. You know, the police were saying other things. Well, I hadn't seen my friends that were there because it was 4 in my car, 4 in the car following us. So there's 8 of us all together. So there were 7 witnesses.
Yeah.
Not all of them showed up during court time when they were subpoenaed, but I see them all in my lawyer's office.
Mm-hmm.
I see them all there. I've been on the base in Abilene. They're down in Kerrville, and we really hadn't talked, you know. And they just start talking. Well, my friend who grabbed the steering wheel, he tells me, man, you know, the DA said that if I said X, Y, Z, that they would help me with this dope case in Kerrville.
Oh, that's
And he's telling me this. He's telling me this. They tried to do a reconstruction 2 years later. Like they were doing it the weekend before my trial.
Yeah.
You know, like testing skid marks 2 years later on a highly trafficked, high accident area. That's weird, you know?
Yeah.
So we laughed. I was like, damn, they shady, you know?
Were you, at this point, were you trying to fight the case? Like,
No, I just was, like, we're just presenting the facts.
that's what I mean. Like, why are they going through all this extra stuff to try to put, like, they're trying to put you under the jail?
Well, see, with the Reconstruction team, they were trying to find me not guilty because after the law states that after an accident stops, the driver is no longer at fault for the death. You know.
Yeah.
So with my Reconstruction team, what they saw was I wrecked, just like anybody else. We're gonna bail. He bailed, took a couple steps, and stepped off of a bridge.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how I went down there and I found him. But I didn't know if the window was busted, you know.
Yeah.
So
That's tough.
yeah, we go to court, and my reconstruction team tells their bit, and on first impact, my trunk blew off. The DPS they just lying. They were lying. The first thing they said was, "There's no way my friend got out of the car because the doors were sealed shut from impact." Well, for insurance purposes, my father had taken pictures of my car with the door open, the door closed, no damage on it. It had nothing to do with what they were saying.
Oh, he had just done that.
He just did it for insurance purposes.
So you guys had that to present?
Yeah,
like,
he took the pictures 2 years prior. It took so long for them to get me. And when we showed it to the judge is like, well, you know what? Sometimes they make mistakes. Like, what the? I'm fucked. I mean, at that point, it's like I'm not. There's no winning this one, man.
Yeah, but you know what? Even after it all went down and it was all finished, like what's important to me and what I care about with you is the person that you became after the situation happened.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And what I think is sometimes, as awful as it seems, sometimes God will allow things to happen, not, on purpose. Obviously, he won't do things, but he'll allow things to happen for his good or what could happen in the long run. Now look at you. Now what you do. All you do is pour into people, make people better. You know what I mean? Like you. So that's kind of the way I look at this.
I'm definitely what you just said there. What happened there has totally shaped me to who I am today.
That's right. Do you still ever? I mean, have you forgiven yourself for like what happened and how it went down, even if it wasn't fully your fault? You know what I'm saying? Just
that's a hard one there. I'd like to say yes, and I could tell you why, but just over time, it's been 20 years,
Yeah.
I would start getting depressed around the time and not even know it was the time. You know, it would just start hitting me
subconscious.
And I still think about it, but with faith, I wouldn't say back then. I wouldn't, with my relationship with God, I see things differently now.
Yeah.
It's everything that happens in my life, good, bad, it puts me where I'm at.
That makes sense.
I wouldn't be right here in front of you if that hadn't happened.
Yeah.
Every decision I've made, it is a thought out, it is a planned destiny. That's why I just kind of let go. We used to have these hang-ups about approaching people or reaching out to folks, but I'm not in control most of the time.
Yeah.
I'm just doing what he wants me to do.
What he lays on your heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you get saved?
In 2014.
How'd that go down?
When I opened my first gym, I just kept getting members that were saved, and they kept telling me all the way when I was little. My uncle was a pastor, and he was on drugs really bad. Been to all kind of rehabs, never got clean. Went to church, and hell, he's been a pastor of his own church for 40-something years now. I don't know how long.
And been clean since then?
Been clean. The church saved him. I've seen my pastor that I have now, Pastor Ray Sandoval at Rise Church. We was running the streets together, when I got out of the military initially and doing wild. I used to call him Crazy Ray.
See, that gives me chills because I love hearing stuff like that.
And I saw him one day, and he was all clean. I thought he was a rat or something. I was like, I seen it because he used to be, but he got saved, man. Not because he went to prison or nothing like that. Yeah. He just got touched, and it's changed his life. He went to Victory Home here in I think it's in Dallas.
Victory Temple?
Yeah, I think that's where it was.
Victory Temple. I think if that's the thing I'm thinking of, it's
a Victory Home. It's a men's home.
Yeah, it's a men's home. It's like a rehab home, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So I know exactly what that is. That's a good program.
Yeah, he went there, and that's what we have. We have a program like that of our own in Abilene, the Rise Discipleship Program.
And that's freaking awesome. I want to hear more about that.
But I saw Ray, and if Ray could change, man, this guy, and that used to be my testimony to people all the time. I was like, hey, I'm one of those guys say, I'm a believer, I'm spiritual,
Yeah.
But I could tell you about my uncle, I could tell you about Ray,
Yeah.
This is what he's doing, and he kind of drew me into going to church. Just like anything I do, if I know the person and what they're saying is I believe it, because I vetted them. We made jokes, like I said, I saw him cleaned up, I was like, oh, he's doing something else, or it's just one of those nonprofit hustles.
Yeah, like it's fake, like it's still the same Ray.
Yeah, same Ray, but you really got a nonprofit, but you just hustling.
Yeah,
and maybe a year or so, I just watched him on MySpace. Yeah, and then finally we linked up. Man, he's bringing guys to the home. He was part of a different home prior, and then he ended up opening up his own church and started his men's home. Usually they house about 75 men.
That's awesome.
It's huge. It's huge.
That's an awesome thing. I think Chris might have even told me about that one. Did Chris maybe come?
I tried to take Chris to that.
That's what it was.
I tried to take him there, and that's I said this is what I can do, and that's what I do with most people. When you're far gone, this is all I can do.
Yeah.
When it comes to any kind of addiction, this is what I can do. You can go here, you can stay here. I can check you in tonight. It doesn't matter when you hit me. I can check you in tonight. You can show up in nothing, and we're going to clothe you, feed you, and it's going to be all word. It's a faith-based rehab. It's not even just for drugs, depression, anxiety.
How does if someone is needing that, if someone is needing some sort of rehab help, how can they find Rise Disciple?
It's risediscipleship.org.
risediscipleship.org. Guys, that's an awesome resource. If anybody hears that and is struggling with any sort of depression or drug addiction, or because it's Abilene, right? So it's only about 2 hours?
About 2.5 hours from here.
Yeah, 2 hours or so from DFW. Sometimes it's better to get a little bit away from the area too, where you're from. So I just want to pause there for a second and shoot that out. risediscipleship.org. So if anybody's struggling with drug addiction and needs some help, that's an awesome resource.
Yeah, actually, I have my Sunday. My cousin came out from Atlanta. He had been struggling with drugs for a long time, and he graduates his year. Actually, he did 13 months, but he graduates this Sunday.
Did that one famous dude go there?
Orlando Brown.
Orlando Brown. He did, right?
Yes, he did. His wife and kids still go there. It's Orlando's Orlando. Y'all see him on the internet.
I haven't, but has he got it together yet?
Yeah, sometimes.
Working on it?
Sometimes he's just Orlando. Sometimes he's with it. Sometimes he's with that,
Yeah.
He's got a beautiful wife and kid, little man in Abilene. He's there from time to time. He's just Orlando, man. And he'll tell you that's Abe, we got a relationship. We're love and hate sometimes,
It's hard when you're pouring into somebody and you see their potential and then they go out in a different direction. For me, I had to learn to not take it personally because I used to get offended. Like if I'm pouring into this person and I'm trying to get them help and they're doing good and then they go back out, I had to learn how to not get offended by that.
Well, see with him though, I can't get mad at him and blame him when I don't believe it's him. I believe it's what they did.
Okay.
Hollywood, and we're seeing it now.
Oh, is that part of that Hollywood stuff?
Wow. Yeah. So getting to know him, and if you really have a firm belief and you've seen addiction, you can see when somebody's a dope head and you can see somebody's touched by a demon, man. Like it's been a hard life for my brother, man. So I'm not gonna dog him.
No,
it's just sure. You can only take so much.
No, for
You can only
sure.
take so much. But I don't, like somebody like that, or even my friends or that have been on drugs, you don't have to apologize because the person that offended me wasn't you.
Yeah, that's
I just
good.
had to get away from you.
That's good.
You know, because I don't want to act out because I'm only human.
That's so good, dude.
So that's our relationship at times.
Yeah.
You know, he's at a high point right now, but I'm seeing the TV show, so I don't know. I haven't seen him in a minute, but like I love him. He's just Orlando, man.
Yeah, it's sad because that's a tough situation, and I didn't know anything about that. But the whole Hollywood stuff. Think about what's going on with that Sound of Freedom movie and how Hollywood's trying to keep that from getting shown because it's a lifestyle that a lot of those Hollywood people live. I mean, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's a strange situation.
Yeah.
I mean, the world's a strange situation, man, on everything that we're pushing and not pushing.
Yeah.
You know, I went and took, my buddy actually bought out the theater last Saturday, got 130-something seats for Sound of Freedom for us in his church.
That's cool.
And we all went and watched it. And honestly, the movie was very powerful. You know, at the end when they're telling the story and you're seeing it, and you know the story before you go.
Yeah.
But if you were just somebody who walked in there and didn't know anything about it and just watched the movie, you would think it's like a Liam Neeson movie. So with that being said,
True.
why were they not wanted out? You know, there wasn't anything abrasive, not no less abrasive than Cuties.
No.
You know, it was worse. It wasn't as bad as that,
you're
you know.
right.
So it's not what was said in the movie. You should be looking at why don't they want you to see
Why do they
it?
want to keep that from being public knowledge?
Yeah, and if you want to go down a rabbit hole, you can find it really easily. But
I mean, it's the same play with, and I'm going to go there because this is what we do and what I believe in. It's the same thing with people now trying to say that, we're not pedophiles, we're minor attracted people. They're trying to even put a label on it to justify it and make it sound like it's an okay thing.
Yeah.
And it's sick, man, and it's ruining the kids. Think about the kids that have to deal with that and go through that. How are they ever going to be okay after that?
Man, at least, you know, that is horrible, but at least they're saying it out loud. The other ones is just...
Oh, like just keeping it a secret?
Well, not really, though.
Or trying,
Not really, though. They're putting it in our face,
Man.
and we're not doing or saying anything because they're not saying, I am a pedophile, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
But we're just stripping our clothes off in front of kids.
Yeah.
And being pedophiles, but because I call myself something else,
That it's like...
it's okay.
They justify it
it's
by
okay.
changing.
But it shouldn't be, it's just, that's why I said the world is weird on what we're pushing and what we're not, you know. I love everybody, you know. Just like I said with Orlando, it can't be you that's doing that. And it may be, and I don't want to go off on a tangent about that sexuality or what people are doing. It's more so, it's the acceptance of it. You know, you can be who you want to be. I don't have to accept it. I don't have to attack you.
Yeah.
I don't have to, but if you ask my opinion, I'll do this, but if not, we can hang out.
Yeah.
Like not hang out, but we'll be okay.
For sure.
You know, we'll be all right. But I don't agree with what's going on in the world. That the race baiting, the everything that goes on, the system has been set up to let young black men know they're behind, you know, or to believe they're behind.
Or to make them believe that?
Yeah, and when I say the system, you could say the white man, but if I'm really talking about the left, I'll be honest, I'll say it directly. You know, it's weird. That's another weird. I'm gonna use that because that's all I can say. I'm just that's weird. That's weird that you would vote for somebody who is clearly doing the benediction for a Klansman. You know, that can outwardly do racist things, but we're gonna try to find something racist about somebody else.
Yeah.
Or the fact that you were speeding, you were drinking, you tried to pull a gun on me, and I shot you as a cop, and I'm wrong.
Yeah.
It's enabling people. It's enabling people to do idiotic things. And when I say people, not you people, I mean black, white, kids.
Yeah.
Kids are looking at us. Old folks are sitting back like, oh man, come on. You know, some people are gonna be more lenient than others, and some people are gonna be more stern on it. But it's what they're doing to our youth, making them believe. They make them believe that I don't have to show my ID to you. I don't have to do this. You know, where we could have been doing the worst, doing 10 times worse than they're doing.
Yeah.
And we're tighten up. Damn, cops got us.
Yeah, we still respect.
You know, we're not fighting the law. We're not fighting the teachers. We're not fighting our parents.
That's true.
You know, but now you got square kids getting jumped on by the cops because they're being so crazy about, you know, just common practices that has always been.
Yeah.
You know,
there definitely needs to be some work in that level, and it's true. And I think that a lot of the times the people want to, when it comes to politics, like you were kind of saying, that's how some people remain in power, is by making people feel like they need them or that they are really the ones helping when they're not.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
I mean? So
yeah.
it's like,
you got to read the book, How to Make a Slave. They played it out perfectly in this election. That's textbook Willie Lynch.
oh, really? See, what's it called? How to Make a Slave?
Yeah, How to Make a Slave. It was actually a slave master that came down and was teaching people how to break slaves. Step by step, remove the man. That's playbook. If anybody out there, look it up, read How to Make a Slave, and you'll see the comparisons.
See,
the things that are happening is so in your face.
It's kind of, there's a book on, that I read some of it, and just kind of piece of it that is a lot about like how Marxism and how like Marxism would take over, and a lot of the plays from Marxism is a lot of stuff that's been going on in our world recently, as far as like, the COVID stuff and just a lot of different, I don't know. It could be a rabbit hole. It could.
Well, we both know there's a lot of books we could read. What's going on in this world? We can get in the Bible and really get deep.
You ain't lying. That's the best book that's gonna tell us what's going on. So when did you start doing like physique shows? Because I've seen you just crush these shows, man.
Okay, so with the I've always lifted. When I joined the military and dropped the PCP, one addiction to the next, because I never cared about fitness. And then looking back at it. When you're older and you look back, did I really not care? Or was it just because I was skinny and I didn't think I could do it? Because I didn't play sports, man. I played baseball as a youngster when my dad was in the military. He got out when I was 14. We moved to Texas, and I was going to play baseball. Well, all the black folks, it was a lot more separate in my town than it was in California as far as races.
Yeah.
As far as races, meaning black, white, Mexican. It wasn't racist.
You mean as far as race, yeah.
Yeah, the black table over here. Yeah. You had some white folks over there. It was separate. So the black dude's like, man, black folks don't play baseball. We play basketball or football. Well, I'm not playing football. I'm tiny, so I played basketball. And I was friggin' terrible, man. I was B team, smacking the backboard, but it was just, eventually I got kicked off the team for being a knucklehead, But I started lifting when I got in the military. And it just stuck, man. And it just, literally, I could tell folks from when I started doing push-ups in boot camp, unless I was hurt, I probably worked out every day from 19 years old till 43 years old right now. Every single day, man.
Yeah.
And not like in there trying to do anything.
Yeah.
This is just what I do.
Yeah.
I'm a creature of habit. I get up, back in the military, I would drink a 40 ounce and go lift, do some weights, eat some bad food, drink a 40 ounce, and repeat the next day after work. So it wasn't a chasing a physique. Yeah. It was just, this is what I do.
Part of your life.
Like I lift, when I first got into tech school, there was a bunch of black dudes that kind of talked like me and looked like me, but they had goals and they were all in the gym. So that's actually where it started. I kind of creeped in, trying to ease in with them. I'm like, man, these dudes seem more like my speed. You can be tough, you can be a ladies' man, but you ain't got to be dumb and act a fool. Yeah. You can just regular guys. So and they were there, so that's where I started. But mainly, it just fell into a passion of lifting, and that's why I pushed it. That's why when Ray had opened the men's home, we had the guys. They work out continuously.
That's awesome.
I don't know if that saved me. I kind of Forrest Gump the PCP. I just done and just went to the military. Never touched it again. Well, a couple times, but pretty much done with it. But it changed me. I offer to folks, maybe it'll change you. Maybe reading will do it. Maybe another hobby, something. You'll have some kind of event that will change your life. It doesn't have to be the gym. It just happens to be that way for some people.
No, I love that because I definitely replaced drug addiction with fitness, like 100%. Like I have to get my workout. And if I don't, I start to feel anxious. I start to feel very irritable. Fitness is definitely a huge tool in overcoming addiction and depression and stuff like that. So that's great. You said two things so far in this interview, and I want to bring them up because I don't even know if you know how awesome they are. But you've said twice how your life has been impacted in a positive way by being conscious of who you surround yourself with. So you said you didn't even realize you're hanging out with all these millionaires at one point, but when you're hanging out with a bunch of millionaires, you know what you're going to be? the next millionaire, right?
Right.
You're hanging out with a bunch of guys that are in great shape. Do you know what you're going to end up being? In great shape, right? So that's just a little thought that I would like someone to take away from this is be very conscious about who you're surrounding yourself with, because if you look at the way he's done it, that's one of the reasons he's been so successful is because would you agree with that? You put the right people in your circle?
Yeah, God did.
Yeah.
God put the right people in my circle, and going back to even how I got saved, people are seeing in me things I didn't see, so they were, man, he's such a godly man. I'm like, am I? So, John C. Maxwell, man, I respect that guy. He's a great speaker, and he's got a couple quotes that I've always tried to live by. So he says to everybody, close their eyes and think about that one person, when they're there, you're on your best behavior. They hold you in such high regards. What they think of you, at our age, it could be your kids or whatever, but there was maybe not even your mom, a school teacher that just saw so much in you. So when you saw them, you tightened up. What if you did that all the time? What if you just acted like that all the time?
Well, that's so good.
So with that, he rose into it can be used on the opposite. You doing it for somebody else. And he says, treat a man as he is and you make him worse. Treat a man as he could be and you'll make him better.
That's so good.
So that's what they did for me. And I always return it, pay it forward. So I'll meet people and I'm just, I get frustrated, like, man, my phone's always ringing, this and that. But that's who I am, man. I have a desire to reach out and help because I want people to feel what I felt. People treating you good will change your life. People being around you, having you do the wrong things, that's where you're going to end up. Yeah. I take responsibility for everything I've ever done. But I will say it had a hell of a lot to do with the company I was keeping.
That's so good, bro. You just dropped some dimes.
My dad used to always call me growing up, and you're a follower. Why are you being such a damn follower? That's not who you are. In my head, I'm like, no, I'm running this. I've always been the leader, which I always believed I was. But
you can lead in either direction.
I was leading in the direction that I felt like they thought I should be leading.
Yeah.
Y'all think I'm this, I'm a criminal mastermind, I can do that. So I'm not leading in the direction that I know that I should be. I'm leading where I can, where my friends are. So really I'm being a follower because I'm leading the way they want me to.
Yeah.
I could have done anything. I learned that is what you pour into people is what you're gonna get. If I'm steadily sitting here with somebody coming up and I'm feeding hating to them or lusting to them, or I've seen guys in the gym where we're talking and we're doing guy talk. We're guy talking and they're starting to get in shape. They're getting in a lot of shape, and next thing you know, their marriage is in trouble.
Oh, that's good.
You got to be conscious of what you say.
It's good
because that's not my fault if I did that. But back, really, what if y'all are talking about God, or what if y'all are just talking about something else?
That's good. It's so sometimes kind of what I'm hearing you say there is you got to really be conscious about the conversations and what you're pouring into people.
Correct.
Because as a person, and it's funny that you said that because I've seen that happen, especially with men as they start to get in shape and they start to feel like they start to get a little bit of ego on them. Mm-hmm. They start to feel, and then they start to like step out.
They falter. Yeah. So, and it's just even with youngsters, I'm always quick to tell them, you're great. I get into it with my daughter's boyfriend. I got 4 daughters, by the way. Get into it with their little boyfriends, and then I still want them to know, like, no, I want you to be great,
Yeah.
But they're just not getting the same tools that me and you had. Even if your father was there or not, the world was different.
Yeah.
So I try to pour into them. I can't sit back and complain about how they are and not try to help.
Dude, that's so good. So a lot of times dads, with the daughter, that's so good, Abe. Listen, so you have your daughters, right? A lot of dads are sitting back and they're like, complaining about the guys that are with their daughter. Mm-hmm. Instead of doing that, you've decided that, you know what, I'm going to pour into these boys and hopefully they can become who my daughter needs or who I want my daughter to be with. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what people were doing for you, right?
Right. And absolutely. But it's a fine line.
Yeah.
It's a fine line because as soon as you cross the line.
Especially with your daughter, right?
Yeah, well, that's just it. And that even with friendships, I will pour everything into you. When I decide that you don't want it, it's gone.
Yeah. Or if you
it's
don't,
gone.
if they don't appreciate it or they...
No, well, you mess, like with a boyfriend, obviously, you mess it up.
Yeah.
We're done. We're done. Or I had one cousin come down and go to the home. He left early. Me and you were done. I did what I could.
Yeah.
I can't give you a ride.
Yeah, don't
I
call me for more
I
help
can't
if you ain't
do
going to help yourself.
anything. You know, if somebody is actively trying to do better, if I see somebody in the gym that they're working their ass off, they don't have money for a nutrition coach, they don't have money for a personal trainer, and you can vet that. You can ask. I will grab you, and hey, here, man, let me hook you up with this
There's
workout.
no doubt
man.
in my mind that you
let me hook you up with this diet, mainly because, you know, I want to see you do well.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know why you're here.
Well, they're representation of
Yeah.
your gym also.
Well, that, and I don't know why. Are you here because you're sad, because you're missing somebody, because this is your place? I want this to be your place.
Dude, I love that, man.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not going to resell a diet plan or a workout. If I make one for this person, what am I going to sell it to you for? So here you go. Here's one, you know.
Here's one that's already sold.
But I don't know, like, I open up to most people, man, and you can see it. And I feel like that's what God wants me to do. You know, everybody has a job. Everybody has a job. You know, everybody feels that job differently, but God has a mission for all of us.
Amen.
You know, and I feel like I'm walking that, how I see fit to walk it, you know, but I know my intention. You know, I have to help this. I have never helped somebody and felt bad about it. I've been burned 1,000,000 times, but I didn't help you for you. I helped you because God told me to. I did my part.
That's good.
I followed the mission. So
it's kind of like,
I don't get disappointed.
I'm going to put this on a smaller scale, but it kind of reminds me of when we see someone on the street homeless, right? And people are like, man, I'm not giving that dude a couple of dollars. He's going to buy a beer. Mm-hmm. Really, what that person does with that money is on them. You know what I mean? If you're answering the call, like, I feel led to give this, I'm not saying go out and give everyone your money, but I'm just saying it's just kind of the same sort of representation. What they do with it, I'm going to offer my help. Here's what I can do for you. And it's up to them to take it or use it for something that can better them, right?
Yeah, and see, and having these different locations I've had, I see people all the time. And rather than say, hey, here's $5, go get this. Hey, man, come get this trash for me.
And
Come get this trash. Come earn you $20.
Yeah.
Don't solicit my customers, but I'll let you work for $20 here.
Yeah,
make it about 10, 15 minutes.
Do something for me. Yeah.
You got to do it.
Put a little bit of work.
We're not going to open our hand up like that. I'm not against you per se. I'm against that act. You know, we're not going to just put our hand out. You want to work for it, you can have it. Now, in some cases, you'll look and it's like, okay, I'm going to help them out. Because you can never just look at a person and say, that's an able-bodied human being. We know some people that look normal that, like, if you put them on the other side of town, they're lost.
Yeah.
You know, their brain isn't right, either from drugs or just life. We don't know what that person's going through. You got to be a little bit crazy. You're not that lazy. You know, you got to have a little bit crazy in you to stand on the side of the road and try to get money.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So, but for the most part, I'll give you a job to do. If you can't do that, then you got to get away from here.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. It really is good. So what's next? What do you see in the future? What are your plans for?
Man, I'm looking to. I mean, the gym's doing well. You know, finally, you know, we've jumped around. You know, the Way of Life was 3,000. I took over goals that was 20,000 square foot. The gym was just too much. It wasn't making money. It looked good, you know, but it wasn't making money. My father passed, and then that's when I started doing my, you know, looking at time spent on money earned. You know, I'm not gonna miss time with my kids and my family, you know, and it's not paying out like it should.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm working 16 hours a day and I'm leaving a legacy, that's what it is. Yeah. You know, that's what I'll do. But if the ends don't justify the means, I'm not gonna do it. So I got a smaller gym at 6,000 square foot, and we're doing well. It's a constant battle. You know, I'm not one to, you know, we got a lot of people that get out here on this podcast and want to make it seem like they're up. You know, No, I'm not up like that. You know, I'm feeling I'm in a position where I can help others. Yeah. You know, but I'm only in my position because I help others. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So,
no, I love that.
So whenever I can, I don't know, man. I don't know what's next. You know, I'd like to get into talking like y'all, but I like also being on the floor and being one-on-one with people.
Yeah. No, you have a lot to offer. Here's a question that I want to ask you, and you can think about it for a second. What is the 1 or 2, 3? What are some pieces of advice that you would tell a 16-year-old now who's kind of lost or trying to figure out what he wants to do with his life? Or it could be Abe at 16 years old. Like, what are a couple pieces of advice that you kind of wish you knew, or you think some kids nowadays could be beneficial to them?
I mean, I'd love to say, listen to your parents. but the parent dynamic has changed a lot. So
a lot of these boys don't have
people to tell them, but it's one thing that changed me is trying to fit a standard or a mold. Be who you are, be your truth, meaning you don't have to run with the pack. Even if you fit with the pack, you're gonna feel out of place. There's no need to do that. You can change the direction of the pack.
Yeah.
You can bring life to it. I spent so many years, and again, I don't regret anything because, like I said, I wouldn't be here. But looking back, I know I bowed to do things that I know I normally wouldn't have done.
Yeah.
Getting into things I normally wouldn't have gotten into. I would like to say, but it's the company you keep. And then having a strong faith. I go through a lot. People that actually know me, they be like, damn, that man, how's he keep his head up? There's a lot of death. There's a lot of different things that happen with my family and around where I'm from. But I've got faith that there's a reason for everything. When my dad died, people thought I handled it really well. It still hurts, but we had a good relationship. He had a relationship with God. I did. We didn't leave anything unsaid. So I miss him, but I'm not mourning him.
Yeah, that's good.
I'll see him again. And I want men to stand up and be men.
Mm.
There's nothing wrong with being a man. You're supposed to be a man.
Yeah.
All these years of fatherless homes, these guys, their whole life, mom's cooked, she's done the bills. If somebody crazy comes to the door, mom's at the door. She's done everything. So these men have modeled themselves to where you wonder why they're laying on the couch while your daughter's cooking and doing everything.
Man,
because that's what they were taught. I was taught that if I could take my shoes off before I go to sleep, I'm doing great. Because my father, I always wondered, he works till he falls asleep. He just keeps going and going. On the flip side, what I also learned from that back then was dads don't really show emotion. That's what I had to get past.
That's so good.
I had to get past that, not kissing and loving on my kids. Now, it was me and my brother, so it was a little bit different, but I honestly don't think my dad said I love you until I was in court. When the DA said, I recommend 20 years, that's the first time I heard it.
Man, that makes me want to cry.
So, but I didn't think anything of it. It wasn't a hurtful thing.
Yeah.
The only people that said they love you is people that's locked up.
Yeah, but you hadn't, so you hadn't seen the other side of it, so you didn't know anything different.
No. So with my daughters learning how to kiss and love on them, and that's my wife's family is like that. So I learned a little more affection and kissing on my daughters and telling them that I love them. Whereas my oldest daughter, she had a different dad. I was 19 and we get along, but she's definitely got my attitude. I instilled that in her. But in her defense, she had the 19-year-old Abe. Her sisters had the 27-year-old Abe.
That makes sense.
Different daddies.
Yeah.
Different daddies. I'm sure she's happy and proud her sister's got a different life, but it's still...
No, that's totally... I didn't understand what you meant at first. You said she had different dads. I was thinking...
Everybody always trips when I say that. I'm like, she had a different daddy. If you had her when you was 19, and I know who I was at 19 out there...
Yeah.
27, I'm about to graduate nursing school, marrying my wife, the mother of my kids.
Yeah, that's
a
two different
daddy.
people, completely two different people.
Yeah, I wasn't too far off from my walk at that point.
That's a good lesson that it's okay for when people are like, oh man, you changed. You'd be like, yeah, I definitely changed.
Yeah.
Thank you for noticing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes people try to use it against you like it's a bad thing. Like, oh man, you're different. You changed. Like, it would be a problem if I stayed the same.
The deep thing is they say you changed, but you really haven't. I'm exactly who I've always been, just doing it in a positive way.
Just doing it better.
I'm doing
Still
it.
Abe.
I could always lead, but I'm leading in the right direction, I believe.
Yeah.
I could always, I was just always, what I was doing then is just going in a better route.
Yeah.
So change, I'm going to change my address. I'm going to change my phone book.
Yeah.
But more likely, I'm the same. I've matured and grown, now you're still where we were at.
Yeah.
Because if anybody can see what you're doing and say you've changed, that should be a compliment.
Yeah.
If they mean it in a positive way. If they mean it, it's not a bad thing to change.
No, dude, that's so good. Man, you've dropped a lot of really good things here today, man. I really appreciate you coming on. Can you share with all my listeners how they can find you, whether it's your social media handle or website for the gym or just whatever?
Okay, you can, my website is alphaestheticstraining.com, and my Instagram is Abe_Walzer. I'm about as bad as checking messages as I am checking text messages. So if I don't hit you back right away, and I, on these things we're supposed to give our shout outs and stuff, man. Just for me, like in real life, like I'm blessed to be here. This is therapy for me. If one person watches this, you can see it in my eyes. I'm getting stuff off my chest. So if people enjoy hearing it, that's what's up. But this was. Thank you, Thank you for the free therapy session where I get to unload for a minute, because that's how I look at it. It can be considered promo, but I'm going to consider it therapy, and I appreciate you, man.
No, it's awesome, man. You've done as good as I thought you would do on this show, man. I'm excited for people to hear it, especially for some of these lessons that you've dropped, because a lot of these boys, man, they need to see. I'm really big on representation, right? And a lot of these boys are already going down the path that me and you went originally, right? But then they see someone like you, and I don't mean this in a weird way, but you're good looking, you're in great shape, you're successful, you know what I mean? You carry yourself well, and then they're like, oh man, but you could tell he still got some hood in him, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I love that. To me, that's...
And when you say no change, that's exactly why. I think I could do a little bit better on my language as far as language.
We all could.
But the way I am and what I get out, it's for a reason. It's to serve, like I said, the mission. That's how I'm supposed to do it, So, and the way I am, kids will talk to me and they're like, man, you don't know. You probably did this and did this. And then that's when I start hitting them with truth. Like I said, a lot of people don't even know I've got a felony, because like we were saying earlier, I like for people to see me as, Abe, you're a good person, or Abe, you're doing well, because I'm doing well, and leave it at that. I don't need to hear, considering where you're coming from, you're doing great. Or
you're right, because it kind of takes away from it, right?
Yeah.
Am I doing good, or am I doing good compared to where I was?
Yeah, you're pretty hot for an old guy. But it's more so I want people to have that confidence. Like my clients, quit showing your throwback Thursdays, man. Yeah, you used to be bigger. We get it, but you know what? You're hot because you're hot.
Yeah.
Brother, you're jacked because you're jacked, not because you used to have titties.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel you 100%.
You're just good.
Yeah.
You're just good. You're doing great for yourself, not because you used to be a dope head. You're doing great.
Regardless.
Done. Yeah.
Dude,
done. You know what I mean?
I can feel, I'm sensing this from you just off of what you said, and I'm the exact same way. One of my favorite things to do is instill confidence in people. To see someone come into the gym with their head down, depressed, and then 3-4 months later, they got their shoulders back, they got a little swag in their step, especially women, I love that. Do you know how many women come into the gym? I like to ask everyone their why. And one I get all the time, once I really dig, is I just want my husband to think I'm sexy again. Like, that's a really common one, right? Like, I just want my husband to look at me like he used to. And you can start to see that build in these women as they get in shape and as they start to feel themselves.
Oh, yeah. That's a given. That's what I say about the pop, like walking in and filling their chest out.
Yeah.
That's why I create the environment that I created. Yeah. Because years ago, before I bought Gold's Gym, I had a client, he was a doctor, super cool dude, let me drive his Porsche, wanted to go out to Miami Beach Week, like a really cool doctor.
Yeah.
Single guy. And I called him and said, I'm on my way, I'll be there in a minute. He said, well, I'm gonna wait in the parking lot. I said, why? He said, them dudes are jackasses, they're kind of assholes, I'll wait. Like I said, are you sure? So I go in, I walk in, what up, hey, what up, and we walk in. And I'm leaving, and I was like, he wasn't Jack, he's like, well, he didn't even acknowledge me. He don't say nothing to me. So when we get done, I'm like, all right, you go walk out before me, man. Walk out before me. He's going to walk out, he's doing the casual, giving him a second to say goodbye, and the dude doesn't say anything. So I'm like, hey, man. And then the same guy, like, what up, man? I said, no, what's up? I said, what's up? You don't see him. You're not going to say goodbye to him? I said, that's a real cool dude, but even if he wasn't, acknowledge him. You work here.
Yeah.
Don't be that guy. I don't need you to say hello to me. You should be nice to people, bro.
Yeah.
You really didn't know what to say. So when you come in my spot, and you'll hear me, what up? What up? By your name. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm being an ass all over because I want you to feel comfortable here. I want you to feel accepted. We've got work, home, gym. That's what most of us got.
Yeah.
And for those that ain't in the street like that, it's That is our club. That's why we spending $200 on a workout outfit, because that's the club. I'm there for 3 hours, 4 hours.
True.
That's where I'm at. So don't hate on people that want to spend some money.
So
They're not buying an outfit for one night to go out for 2 hours. They're buying it for the gym.
Yep.
You know, and reusing it.
Yep. You spend more time in the gym than you do out clubbing.
Yeah,
the party.
exactly.
So like,
So
why not look good?
I wanted to be that club for people.
What does Deion say? Look good, feel good, play good, right? And that's so
real.
true.
Yeah, be accepted.
Man, thank you, Abe. Like from the bottom of my heart, thank you for coming and doing this. I'm excited to get this out because you definitely dropped some good information. You got anything else you want to say before we sign off?
Nah, happy birthday, Liv.
There you go.
You know, my little mama's turning 13. She didn't want to come with me, but that's okay.
It's okay.
Love you anyway.
She's probably past that age when she wants to kick it with dad anymore.
real,
My son's almost there, but it's okay. It's okay. Hey, remember.
Appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Anybody listening, man, remember that you're loved, you're forgiven, and there's nothing you can do about it. And thanks for tuning in, y'all.